Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Boy, do we got a nice bunch here. And I'm sure a nice bunch out there. My name is Celeste, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to Centers for Spiritual Living Minneapolis, where we gather to celebrate that divine idea that brings us all together. So, let me share with you our statement of truth. There is a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and you can consciously use it. And our mission is to teach, demonstrate, and inspire a positive spiritual approach to living. Okay, so now, if you will all check to make sure that your cell phones are at least silenced, if not turned off, because we're going to get ready for some music. Let me introduce to you Dorothy Doring and James Allen. Hi. I'm thinking. It's very clear our love is here to stay. Not for 1 year, but ever and a day. The radio and the telephone and the movies that we know may just be passing fancies, and in time may go. But oh my dear, our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. In time the Rockies may crumble, Gibraltar may tumble, they're only made of clay. But our love is here to stay. But oh my dear, our love is here to stay. And I know together we're gonna go a long, long way. In time the Rockies may crumble, Gibraltar may tumble, they're only made of clay. But our love is here too. Our love is here. Our love is here to stay. Thank you. A little more love for Dorothy and James. All right, now it's my opportunity to invite you to settle into that space. Let that chair support you as I open us up with a little prayer. Little prayer. Isn't that interesting? We've got the whole bigness of the universe, and here we are with our little prayer. So take a deep breath and drop down into that space where we already know the truth, where we already know there's one life, one power, one presence, and it is everywhere present. It created everything, therefore I know it created me, and it created each and every one of you. And I know that God says yes to us. I know that we are that which that divine idea is. So all we need to do is ask, how will we show up as the divine idea today? So it is from this deep place of knowing that I recognize the blessing of our time together today. I recognize the blessing of this space, the blessing of those that helped create it. I recognize the blessing of the practitioners that hold high watch at all times and know the truth. I absolutely recognize the blessing of our speaker today, Reverend Debbie. I absolutely recognize that divine idea that she holds for us today as we swim in that divine ocean. So, I already know that this is done and done well in that divine mind. So all we need to do is be. So I shall let this little prayer be, and say, and so it is. All right. Okay, and now if you will join me in our group reading, a way for us to connect with each other with this one idea, and that is, I am ready to deepen my conviction in the power and the presence for good. I am ready to apply it in my daily life. I am ready to receive God's highest blessings. I am ready to live from a higher level of beingness. I am ready to be a transformative light in the world. And with that, I'll invite Selena to come up for our Flames of Faith. Now, I love this part of our service. One of the greatest gifts that Ernest Holmes gave us is that golden thread that runs through all religion and all philosophy that says we are one. So, join me now as we light our flames of faith. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as a path of love. And we light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. And now I invite you to go within and ignite that flame within for all forms of new thought. This divine idea that we are one and there is no other. Thank you, Selena. All right, and now it's time for our inspirational reading. Colleen, please come up and rescue me.
Good morning. Good morning. Reverend Debbie has chosen this excerpt from Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. The whole world is undergoing a change of such stupendous proportions that millions of people have become panic-stricken with worry, doubt, indecision, and fear. It seems to me that now is a splendid time for those who have come to the crossroads of doubt to endeavor to become acquainted with their other selves, their higher selves. All who wish to do so will find it helpful if they take a lesson from nature. Observation will show that the eternal stars shine nightly in their accustomed places, that the sun continues to send down its rays of warmth, causing Mother Earth to yield an overabundance of food and clothing, that water continues to flow downhill, that the birds of the air and the wild animals of the forest receive their accustomed requirements of food, that useful day follows restful night, that busy summer follows the inactive winter, that the seasons come and go precisely as they did before the 1929 Depression began, that, in reality, only men's minds have ceased to function normally, and this because men have filled their minds with fear. Observation of these simple facts of everyday life may be helpful as a starting point for those who wish to supplant fear by faith. I am not a prophet, but I can, with all due modesty, predict that every individual has the power to change his or her material and financial status by first changing the nature of his or her beliefs. Right.
Thank you, Colleen. Okay, so my opening prayer didn't bless the divine idea as our musicians. So give it up for our next song and our musicians for today.
I'll be loving you always with a love that's true, always. When the things you planned need a helping hand, I will understand, always, always. Things may not be fair, always. That's when I'll be there, always. Not for just a day. No, I will love you always. Things may not be fair, always. That's when I'll be there, always. And not for just an hour, and not for just a year, not for just a lifetime, but always, always, always.
Okay, a little more love. All right, without further ado, please welcome our inspirational talk for today, given by Reverend Debbie.
Oh, it's so nice to be back. Yes, Jeff and I had the opportunity of spending a week in Southern California, and I had an opportunity of speaking at my home church, which is in Carlsbad. And it was hard to write today's talk, you guys, because I have been spending the last week in a sea of abundance, just filled with so much love and joy, and realizing that everything changes, everyone changes, but the basic love and joy and happiness that comes from one's heart, it doesn't change when you're willing to just let it out and let it shine. And so I just want to give a shout out to those people I know from Carlsbad and just tell them thank you, because I'm just so full. And now I'm going to talk about limitation. No, I'm not talking about limitation by any means, because this month is all about talking about wealth, not a common thought of, look at that mansion, they're wealthy, but wealth from a new thought perspective. In the Revealing Word, it's defined as a state of consciousness, a consciousness of God as our supply. Spiritual wealth expresses itself as faith, love, wisdom, substance, joy, and so on. And when we allow that part of us to come out and play, when we spend time remembering that part of us and connecting to that part of us, oh, there's no way we can feel any idea of lack or not enoughness. It's just not possible. See, each of us expresses our wealth in our own way, because each of us are that divine expression of the one. So we are right now in this room in a sea of abundance, because we are each here expressing our wealth. We're each here to share the love within these walls, the love that remains after we leave here. We are each here because we share the light. We share that light of knowing who and whose we are. We gather here because we are all seeking a deeper understanding of that truth and a greater expression of that truth. And when we come together, we come together, that truth makes itself so apparent. That truth that there is no place where God is not. When we allow ourselves to put our higher self first and let everything else fall, it does so much smoother, much more gently. So, to set the tone for today, I want to talk about a little bit about science of mind. And there are 10 core beliefs that we have. And practitioner Colleen posts them on social media every now and then. You can find them on our website. You can find them in the Science of Mind magazine. But core concept number 6 of this teaching is that we live in an abundant universe. Always. We are in an abundant universe whether we feel like it or not. Whether we're having a thought of lack and doubt and fear, or whether we're having thoughts of love and peace and harmony, we are still in that same abundant universe. As I said the first Sunday, it's not as if God comes down and says, let me bring you this from the supply house. No, there's no coming and going. It's right here, right now. Just let's breathe it in, you guys. When we breathe in, we're breathing in life force. We are breathing in spirit. And when we exhale, we're releasing whatever it is we're ready to release. We can release our stress, we can release our pain, our sadness, and there are also times when we release our love and our joy. That's how much choice we have. We have a choice to breathe in anytime, consciously and deeply or not, and we have a choice to exhale anything we don't want to keep or not. Think of that choice and that freedom. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, in the Science of Mind textbook writes, God is spirit, spirit is substance, and substance is supply. This is the keynote to all realization of a more abundant life, to the demonstration of success in financial matters, and I would like to add, all human manners. It is right that we should be successful, for otherwise the spirit is not expressed. The divine cannot lack for anything, and we should not lack for anything that makes life worthwhile here on earth. Here on earth, we shouldn't lack for anything. And we don't lack for anything, if you think about it, right? If we're thinking, we're creating not only our day, but our future. So if we're thinking lack, the universe is like, okay, you want more of that? I can do that. We'll do it together, and I'll do it in wild and weird ways. You can have as much lack as you want. Think about it. Even in lack thinking, we are still in abundance of that lack. Right? But when we flip the coin, because lack is just a human concept, when we flip that coin, we realize that we're still just God in divine expression. We're just not expressing what we really, really want. We're expressing what we really, really don't want. And we're doing a great job of it. In the book Creative Mind and Success, Holmes writes, everything's built on a boundless basis, drawn from a limitless source, comes forth from an infinite sea of unmanifested life. Life is always limitless, and we should draw more and more from that limitless source. That limitless source. But sometimes we see it as very limited, because that's our belief at that moment. And what I love about that reading today is that it's really clear that it's all about our beliefs, right? It's all about what we're putting our attention and our focus on. Napoleon Hill wrote that book in the late, well, he wrote it in what, 1938, something like that. But if it wasn't for the reference of the financial crash of 1929, would you have known that what he was referring to was not like in today's world? When you read the beginning of Eric Butterworth's book, Spiritual Economics, it's the same thing. He talks about the same thing. He talks about the idea of confusion and fear and doubt and the world being in chaos and all of that. Isn't it interesting that there's always that point of view that is always expressing itself? Well, I am here to tell you that we can reverse that. We can reverse that through our belief of knowing that the universe is limitless, by knowing who we are and by being willing to step up to the plate. And we are all here today, we are all watching this because we have already become willing. Willing to become willing to be and see and do from that place of internal perfection. Internal perfection. To recognize that even when it doesn't feel like it, we are swimming in a sea of possibilities, a sea of abundance, a sea of limitless supply. I would like to go so far as to say we are swimming in a sea of infinite love. Imagine the world if we all realize we're just here swimming in love. Kind of a nice vision, huh? Well, it's true. But we don't always see it, just like a fish doesn't always recognize it's in the water, right? We just, we start taking things for granted. Because this is the way they're supposed to be, this is the way they've always been. But that's not true. It's just not our truth anymore. When we appreciate our everyday pleasures, when we acknowledge the little simple things, we are stepping into that abundance. When we notice nature in all of its glory, and this is a perfect week to do that, right? Don't you just feel good when those birds are singing and you can hear them? And would life be that bad if you just spent an extra 2 minutes listening to the birds? I mean, will your schedule be that messed up? No. Is it okay just to notice that there's more buds on the tree today than yesterday? Absolutely. I mean, right there is abundance in pure action. When we start to notice all of this goodness, then what happens to ourselves? We start to notice more goodness because our attention is now drawn to it. And then when we add to that magic of being in joy and appreciation around everything that's with us, when we add to that a spiritual practice, cultivating that higher self, as Hill calls the other self, that part of us, not the higher self up there, but the higher self in here, when we start to cultivate that consciously and continually with a commitment, oh my gosh, I can tell you that life doesn't become just smooth and easy. But I can also tell you that the highs are higher and the lows are higher because you're not going it alone. We can move ourselves out of any idea of lack and into a space of gratitude just by a conscious breath, I believe. Just by changing our focus. Just by getting up and moving to a different room. Right? Just switch it up. Because when we do this work of having a spiritual practice, of spending time daily with ourselves, whether it's in quiet or listening to an incredible piece of music, whether we do it in our favorite chair or walking along a lake or in the park, when we start doing that and cultivating that communication, there's no place and no one that can stop us. Just nobody. See, when we ourselves limit our own good by our belief system. We all do, right? I mean, we all have this idea, these beliefs of what we are worthy of, what we can accomplish, right? Where our status is in the world, in the family. But those limited beliefs, we can release. We even have a limited belief, at least I have had a limited belief, on my good. My prosperity has been tied to my job or tied to money. I can tell you that. Until, as I shared, I lost a job and I had no money. and things just kept flowing. Because I allowed my belief system of I am enough to fill the space. Because I turned over that frantic need, right, to do something, to fix it. I turned that over. I turned it over to a practitioner, and I turned it over to God. And when it started showing back up in my little old monkey mind, right, we all have one of those little voices, I was like, yeah, no. My practitioner, Dr. Jane, has that handled. God's doing the heavy lifting. And now we are just going to send out 10 resumes and then take a walk. You see what I mean? We can allow our belief system to drive us crazy, or we can release that belief system and step into a new belief of a sea of abundance, of not doing it alone. The other way I think that we expect our good in a given way, but what we have to recognize is that God, Spirit, universe, whatever you call it, has multiple ways of delivering our good. And when we're open to it, it usually comes in really funny, weird ways. It's never a straight path. Even though we want it to be a straight path, right? I want my good and I want it to be this. Well, what if that's not your good, my good? What if my good is more like this? You know what I mean? Get the difference? So we tend to make our life hard because we know this is what I want. And so now I'm so focused on this that when this is over here, I don't see it. I've got those blinders on, right? I am blind to all of this because I'm so laser focused on that. And when we let go and let God, when we truly let go and let God, when we truly say, yes, this is a sea of goodness, and I'm just swimming in it. I'm not drowning, but I'm swimming. And we allow ourselves to open up space for Spirit to work the way Spirit wants to work, then there's no stopping us. We don't have to make things hard. Things can be easy. It's okay for things to be easy. It is. Truly, it's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, think about it though. It is. It's okay if it's just easy, because easy's kind of where it should be at, right? We're divine expressions. I don't think any of us were put on this planet to be stressed out and freaked out all the time, right? We're here to be love, to be joy, to be happiness. We're here to allow our goodness, our essence, to lift other people up and make them happy. And some of us get to do it as a profession. Thank you. Fancy, right? He gets to do it as a profession with Spirit. But we all get to do that. We all get to provide love and peace and joy, not only for ourselves, but for others. And when we do that, oh, think about it. Think about it. Think about how we can change the world. Getting off track here a little bit, but Alan Cohen, in one of his books, talks about the terrorist mind. And he goes so far as to say that every time we have a frightening thought, fear, every time we have a frightening thought, we're putting more terror into the universal subconscious. That's how powerful we are. So let's just give the planet a break, shall we? And stop being fearful. Stop being hard on ourselves. Stop doing things the hard way and just breathe. Breathe in the abundance. Breathe in the goodness. Life isn't supposed to be hard. Life is supposed to be wonderfully fun and full of mistakes, right? Because we all make mistakes, and we're going to continue to make mistakes. But that's what life is supposed to be. We're in a sea of abundance, and in that abundance, there are mistakes. And so we just make them, take note, let it go, and move on. You know, when an airplane encounters turbulence, right, it can't just stay there. It can't not just stay in the turbulence because there's so much resistance, it would just break the plane apart. So when an airplane comes into some turbulence, it either rises above or it lowers itself, right? It goes up or down to get to a place of stable, clear air. And it kind of stays there until the turbulence passes, and then it goes back up to where it was, and it's smooth sailing. But us as humans, when we hit turbulence, what do? Fix it. I'm going to get through this. Okay, so because we're in a sea of abundance, what should we do? We should breathe. We should breathe in the good and either rise above or whatever turbulence it is and like hang out there for a little while, give spirit some space to calm the turbulence, or take a break. Take a nap and just allow some peace to settle in before we move back up to that level we want to be at. We are all as smart as airline pilots. We are. You know? We just have to implement it. And we need to reclaim our normal. In the sea of abundance, we need to reclaim our abundance, which is our normal. Our normal is health, wealth, and happiness. We just need to reclaim it. And the best way to do that and to get through any other kind of turbulence in our life is gratitude. There's nothing better than gratitude. It requires no training, no special things, no special pose, right? No little charm to get you into it and out of it. None of that. It's just being grateful. Holmes has a book called A Reader for All Seasons. Holmes has a lot of books, and they're basically all the textbook broken into a lot of books. So, but in this one he writes, the attitudes of praise and thanksgiving are salutary. They not only lighten the consciousness, lifting it out of sadness and depression, they elevate the consciousness to a point of acceptance. Praise and thanksgiving are affirmations of the divine presence, the divine abundance, and the divine givingness. And it is only when we live affirmatively that we are happy. It is only when we recognize that the universe is built on affirmations that we continue to be happy. Hill writes, "The only limitation is the one which you set up in your own mind." So if we set it up in our own mind, we can release it. And we can release it with thanksgiving, with gratitude. We can release it by knowing, thank you, you've served well. Dear belief, you've served me well, but I no longer need you. So thank you and goodbye. Right? Thank you and goodbye. And that's your assignment this week. Thank you and goodbye. Anything that shows up that is no longer serving you, bless it, release it. Just let it go. And when it shows back up, say, oh, you're back. You don't need to be back. Goodbye. You only have to bless it once. Think about it. I mean, we can treat our limited beliefs, those beliefs that no longer serve us, just like we treat people, right? Thank you. Appreciate it. Done with you now. And that's what I'd like you to do this week. In this sea of abundance, whatever shows up as lack or limitation, whatever belief, whatever is no longer serving you, that's clouding your vision from recognizing that you're swimming in this sea. Thank you. Appreciated you. You got to go. No free rent is ever happening in your higher self. Think about it. There's free rent in your head. Your higher self does not support free rent. So any of those ideas in your head that are there rent-free, thank you and goodbye. So join me. What are we going to do? Thank you and then goodbye. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Debbie. Won't say goodbye to you just yet. How about some more love for that talk? That was a great talk. Thank you very much. And now for a little more music.
Okay.
Dorothy and James.
There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy. And though he wandered very far over land and sea, a little shy and very sad of eye, but very wise was he. And then one day, one summer day, he passed my way. And as he spoke of many things like fools and kings, here's one thing he said to me. He said, the greatest thing that you will ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. One lovely day he passed my way. He spoke of so many things like fools and kings, but I remember one thing he said to me. He said, the greatest thing that you and I will ever learn is just to love and then be loved in return. Is just to love and be loved in return. return is just to love and be loved in return.
Thank you. Okay, I didn't want to put any pressure on you guys when you were warming up, but that is one of my all-time favorite songs. So, thank you. More love, more love. And thank you again, Reverend Debbie, for a great talk. Now, it is our time to do something else consciously. And that's to give where you've been spiritually fed. And I know I've been spiritually fed. I've been furiously writing notes here. So if you feel that same way, give from that place of knowing of abundance, knowing that, that divine idea is everywhere present and gives you and brings you everything you can need, want, and desire at any moment. And we do that by the law of circulation. We give and we receive and we give. So take that gift of your expression of being spiritually fed and hold it close to you. And I love this little prayer on that gift. And that is, this gift I give is God in action. And I indeed send it forth with joy, confidence, and ease. For I know I am blessed by the law of giving and receiving, as I now share my good with life, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, always. And so it is.
I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I am so blessed, I am so blessed, so grateful, I am so blessed.
And thank you, everyone, for sharing your gifts. Now, we have a gift for you, and that is prayer, affirmative prayer, not this begging stuff, but speaking the truth and knowing the truth for not only ourselves as practitioners, but indeed for this community. That's what we do. So there are many ways that you can have us sit with you. We can do this right after service, sometimes called the 3-minute miracle, where you sit down, you talk about what's present for you, and you get that immediate connection with a practitioner that'll help you remember who you really are. Because that's the game, people. Help you remember who you really are. If you don't want to sit with somebody, you can go over to the prayer table, fill out a prayer, put it in a box, and we take it and we give it to the team, and we do prayer work on it. We know the truth. Other ways you can do a prayer request is online on our website. Now, all of these, you can indicate whether or not you'd like us to contact you, because we'll have that talk with you. We'll get down to it, because that's our job. Help you remember who you really are. Helps us to remember who we really are. And that's the game. So, please, take advantage of that. We go through this extra training to serve you, and it is our honor to do it. Okay. See, I talk up the practitioners because I'm a practitioner. Okay, announcements. Just a couple of announcements. I have heard that the class with Reverend Debbie and Charlie is going quite well, but we're beyond being able to join that class, so sit tight. We'll keep you posted on their progress, as well as let you know other classes that are scheduled. Also, save the date. More information to come Saturday, June 15th, for our annual retreat. Can't give you any more information right now, but more information is forthcoming. Did I miss anything? Right on. Okay. Well then, whew. I am going to close us out with a prayer. Reverend Joanna is going to bless us out, and then Dorothy and James are going to sing us out. And please join us after service for a little bit of noshing and coffee drinking and socializing with people who remember who you really are. All right. So, settle into that space once again. That place where we remember. That's the key, remember. And I'll just say how good it is to know, how good it is to remember that we are that one life, that one power, one presence. How good it is to remember whose we really are. How good it is to know that the divine idea through us, as us, can say thank you and goodbye to lack. Thank you and goodbye to fear. And dive right into that sea of love and abundance. How good it is to rest in the knowing that our good is on its way now. And we are indeed deserving of it. So we rest in great anticipation of our good that is on its way and our good that is here now. And we recognize it with our gratitude. So, let us remember. Let us say thank you and goodbye and step into our true power of love and abundance. All I need to do now is say thank you. Thank you for knowing the truth. Thank you for resting in the understanding that there is a power, a law at work, and we have just spoken to it. I know it is done, it is done, it is done, and it is done well. So I shall let it be and say, and so it is. Reverend Joanne?
I'll leave you with this blessing. May you be at peace. May you know the beauty of your own true nature. May your heart be open. May you be healed. May you be blessed. Namaste.
On a clear, on a clear, is this B flat? Yeah. Oh, there it is. On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see who you are. On that clear day, how it will astound you that glow of your being outshines every star. You feel part of every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near a world you've never ever heard before. On that clear day, on that clear day, you can see forever and ever